Hey everybody, this is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast coming back to you on the live. Today, I have a treat for you. This man and his family is powerful. Oh my gosh. He is very instrumental and he's just inspiring. When I saw his when I saw his almost like a biography, almost you want to say, on CNBC February this year, it was impactful for me because he's doing all the things. He's doing all the right things. He's doing Airbnb. He's doing real estate investing. He's doing budgeting, and him and his wife are just dynamic, powerful people, and they're saving and they're investing even when they don't have to be, right? And so I wanted to get them on here. He was gracious enough and amazing enough to come on the show today to just tear down those barriers and just do a little Q&A for us. And so today we have Mr. Todd Baldwin coming to you live on the Gentleman Style Podcast show. I want to bring in my man, Mr. Todd Baldwin. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Hey, what's up, brother? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. This is dynamic. Sir, you are incredible. You and your family are incredible. And you guys scrimp and save pretty aggressively, right? But you don't have to, right? The posting, the advertisement shares that you and your wife together make over $600,000 a year. Why do you save so aggressively? Why the saving?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you again for having me on. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm just super excited to be talking to you and your audience. But yes, I think it goes back to, so I didn't start off making, $600K or even $100K. I come from a family who struggled. I was raised by a single mom who at one point had to rely on like food stamps and welfare. And it was bad. We came from a really low place. And so I learned how to save, how to budget, and how to invest from a pretty early age. And no matter how much income I make, I will always do that. I will always be frugal. And it's not about, of course you want to enjoy your life and you want to, take the trips where you can, all those things. But right now I'm still pretty young. I'm 28. I'm just looking at this time to build. And I'll probably let myself have some fun in my 30s because the 20s are about building. But there you have it.
Absolutely. And that's true, right? And that's amazing. Your story, you talk about how you saw your mom growing up with your mom push and drive. And so on CNBC, you shared that she was your inspiration for everything you do. How did you, because you found you have an incredible family. How did you convince your wife to get on board, right? Because you do insurance and she is into CPA. She's a CPA.
That's right.
How were you able to convince her to live such a you're not struggling or not a difficult life at all by any means, but you are living I want to say are you a part of the FIRE movement?
Yeah, I didn't actually know the term FIRE until recently. I just I'm part of the financial community, but for whatever reason, like that piece of it has just missed me. So that was never the goal, like as far as the actual acronym, but certainly we want to retire. I mean, we could retire today, to be completely honest with you. But to answer your question about how I got her on board, it's kind of funny. I mean, we both sort of argue about whose idea it was. I'm pretty sure it was my idea, but she likes to say it was her idea. But no, I mean, we just saw, we bought a house when we were 23, I believe, and it was a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. And it was just me and my wife. We have no children yet. We don't have any pets or anything like that. And
Smart.
We just thought to ourselves, we can live completely for free if we rent out all these bedrooms. And not only did we live for free, we actually made money. We were getting paid to live. And so we just kept buying house after house. And by the time our net worth crossed $1 million, we were 25. We had, I believe, 6 roommates. We were making $500,000 a year, and we were sharing one car. So the extreme lengths of frugality, which people will probably think is insane, but it's at the point now where we're 28 years old. And if we wanted to tomorrow, we could quit everything and never work another day in our lives. We're fortunate that we love what we do.
Absolutely. And that's incredible. How did you get your wife on board? When you were courting and dating her, how did that conversation come and be like, hey, girl, I love you. We're gonna have an incredible life together, but we're gonna have roommates and we're gonna have Airbnb
Yeah,
and
I
and
mean, great,
and split this house up. How did that
great
conversation
question.
go?
Yeah, it's so I'm kind of old school. So when we were first started dating, it was really important to me that I take her out. And at the time, I was a broke college student. I really didn't have any money. So it took me about a month and a half, maybe even 2 months of savings before I could actually take her out on a date. And when we got to the restaurant, got our food, she offered to pay, and I wouldn't let her. And it's not that I'm the sexist or anything. I was raised old school. I was raised that when you're
Gentlemen.
out with a woman, you treat her, you take her out. That's how I was raised. And so I said, no, I've got it. And she knew how long it took me to save to take her out on that date. So the next thing she said to me was like, well, what about for our second date? We go to the Costco food court, and for appetizers, we'll go get those free samples. And for the main course, we'll get hot dogs or pizza. And at that moment, I knew she didn't care about money or anything. She just wanted to be with me. She just wanted to spend time with me, right?
She loved
And
you.
so, exactly, yeah, she wanted to be there for me. And I told her, I was like, I looked her dead in the eyes, and I said, it's been my goal since the time I was 12 to be a millionaire. And I want to be a millionaire before the age of 30. And she was like, I have no doubt you'll accomplish that. But just so you know, I'm in it whether you are or you're not. And that was it. I mean, that was all I needed to hear. And so I told her some ideas that I had. And actually, it was both of our ideas to do Airbnb. I think it was more my idea to have roommates. We don't have roommates right now, by the way. Our roommates actually moved out a couple of weeks ago. So we are finally roommate free. But I highly recommend for anyone starting out, you do that. But my wife and I, we had pretty similar goals from the beginning. So I don't know if it was so much convincing my spouse as it was choosing a spouse who had the same vision.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely important, right? That's absolutely crucial to choose the right spouse in the beginning and choose the right spouse first. When she probably did that, you probably were like, she's the one. If there was a burning bush, if that was a sign, that was it. Really,
Yeah.
just right off the bat, she was so humble and so gracious enough, and the way you two connect, and I see it all over your Facebook page, all over your YouTube channel. You guys are happy, even though you save aggressively. You're wise savers and smart spenders. So tell my audience, out of the $600,000 that you both make, you save a large amount of that. Why and how much is that? Out of 600,000, what's it? Are we talking 20%? What's the magic number? 30%?
I probably save closer to 80 or 90% of my income.
80 to 90%. You and your family are living off 20% of your income.
Certainly.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
Why? But this man, hey y'all, this man is impactful. Mr. Ted Baldwin is powerful. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to tune in, because you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him anywhere else except on his channel. So please get this man up. Let's lift this man up. Mr. Baldwin, you do other things besides real estate, insurance, and your wife's a CPA. You're also a smart shopper.
That's right.
What's that like? What's that like? Why do you do that? And how does that even work, being a smart shopper?
So yeah, everybody asks me that. So basically, there's a program called secret shopping or mystery shopping. Like it's whatever words you use, it's the same. But basically, the gist of it is there are a lot of businesses out there, like restaurants and movie theaters, who want to know what the public thinks about their product or service. So they will hire secret shopping companies to find independent contractors like all of you guys listening right now, or me or you, and to basically go pose as normal customers. We buy whatever product or service they're selling, and then when we get home, we fill out a survey, and then we get reimbursed for our purchase, plus a little bit of profit on the top. So usually what happens is when my wife and I want to go out on a date in Seattle, like to a nice restaurant or whatever, I will line up a secret shop. And one of the ones we go to quite frequently, there's a Mexican restaurant called the Matador. We usually get paid about $75 for that assignment. I try to go during happy hour. So with dinner, drinks, appetizer, and dessert, we keep it to about $60. So we get the entire meal reimbursed, plus we make $15 on the top.
What? Tell my audience that website again one more time. Can you tell us what that website was again?
Yes, absolutely. So there's actually a couple that I'll give you because there's a few that I work with, but my favorites is Reality Check Mystery Shopping. If you guys just Google Reality Check Mystery Shopping, it'll come right up. And there's also Market Force Secret Shopping. And either one of those two will get you like free restaurants, free movie theaters. The last movie that I saw in theaters was one of the new Star Wars movies. I took my wife there. She hated it, by the way, but I loved it.
I love Star Wars.
I kid you not, Marcus. We got the tickets for free, and I got paid $100 in profit to go see the new Star Wars movie.
What?
Yep.
You guys got to check that out. So we have a question already from our audience members. Mr. Baldwin, do you use coupons when shopping?
That is a great question. We do use coupons. So I don't often like find coupons in the newspaper and like clip coupons, but I have cashback apps that work the same as coupons. So one of the apps that I use is an app called Ibotta or Ibotta. I don't actually know how you pronounce it, but I've made like $500 cash back on Ibotta, as well as there's another app that I use called Dosh. And then also if I'm online shopping, we use Rakuten, which gives you about 8% cash back.
Dang, there you go, Miss Shanique. So there's those links. Those are the coupons that he's saving money all around. He's saving money all over the place. He's saving money in real estate, renting rooms out, which his roommates just left. We have another question from Miss Aisha Donaldson. Hey, girl, how many kids do you have? I think he answered that earlier, but
yes, as of right now, I have 0. We are planning to have a family in the future, but right now we haven't even started trying for babies yet. I'm just 28, so I got some time.
We got plenty of time. Absolutely. He's only 28. Him and his wife became millionaires at 26. It was
25, but I don't want to brag. So we can
no,
yeah, mid 20s.
you are on it, brother. You are incredible. You are dynamic, and you are just changing the game. So you and your wife share a car. How do you guys share a car when she works and you both work? That's tight, right? That's impossible.
Well, so it's a great question. So as I mentioned before, we tend to buy real estate every 12 to 18 months. And we usually buy it as a primary residence, meaning we move to the next house because you can put less down and you get a better interest rate. But we make sure, so we have a total of 6 houses now, and all 6 houses that we have are right on a bus line. So my wife's work is right downtown Seattle. It's about a 20-minute bus ride from most of our houses to her work. So I would take the car because I work in sales. And so I would, go out and meet with clients, and I would have to drive maybe 2 hours to different sales appointments, but she would just use the bus. And now, of course, with 2020 and the pandemic, everybody's working from home. So we have been sharing a car now. We've been sharing one car for about 3.5 years. I think in August of 2021, it'll be 4 years that we're sharing just one car, which happens to be an 11-year-old Ford Focus with about 180,000 miles on it.
Oh my gosh. Mr. Baldwin, I have a small clip from your CNBC news article. Is it okay if I play a short clip of it?
Yeah.
I wanted to share a small clip of it. So y'all, you guys are going to in for a treat. This interview was incredible, and it was powerful to me because when I saw it, it made me think, it made me reevaluate my own life, and it made me reevaluate how I was doing business, and I was just doing it completely wrong. So here's a clip. Mr. Baldwin, let's see. There you have it, y'all. The man, the myth, the legend. This is who I'm bringing to you today. This is the man that is just changing the game. Like I said, when I saw this video, it hit home for me because I grew up with a single father, dad who worked a lot, worked 3 jobs just to support his kids. Didn't have all the best things. So you, Mr. Baldwin, you are an inspiration. I want to say that to you publicly.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. That makes me feel incredible. And I am so humbled and amazed that this story got, we didn't expect this story to go viral at all, but so many people have reached out and have said that it's been helpful to them. And that's all I ever wanted is hopefully to inspire the next generation of people and to bring up communities and people who have traditionally struggled. And let's work together through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have another question. Sorry guys, I apologize. So it's my first time doing a multi-screen like that. So our audience couldn't hit the audio, but I will send it to you guys because Mr. Baldwin, again, I believe it's on his channel as well. But I apologize to my audience. I'm learning. Don't beat me up. So we got another question from the audience. When do you plan to retire, and what will you do after? What's retirement look like?
Man, that is a really good question. So, I mean, I guess we'll take retirement in two different definitions. As far as never work for anybody else again, this year, I mean, like the end of 2020, I will probably never ever have to go have like a job again. But as far as like, just walk away and just do nothing, I mean, probably not until I'm much, much older, just because I enjoy what I do. Like, I don't imagine a time where I will stop investing, right? Or stop like buying and selling real estate, because I get so much joy from it. And it's also incredibly lucrative. I mean, just we made, if you guys want to talk numbers, and I don't know if your audience wants to hear numbers or not, but I think
we want numbers.
All right, here we go. In 4 years, my wife and I made like $3 million in real estate. And it's like, I mean, I just don't know why I would stop. It's not even that hard to do. Not that we don't work hard, we do. But sorry, that was a very long-winded response to say, as far as working from somebody else, this year I'll be done. As far as traditional retiring, where like I just hang up my hat and I just, don't do anything, I don't know that I'll ever do that, because with being a professional investor, I can go travel the world and still be making money and doing all these things. Plus, I have my YouTube channel now where I'm teaching others. So I'm probably going to be still working in a sense for a long time, but it doesn't really feel like work because I love what I do. I can do it wherever I want to in the world. And it's just crazy lucrative.
Absolutely. I hope Patience Dean, great question. I hope that answers your question. We got another question. I told you they was excited. I was excited.
Great. Yeah, this is awesome. Bring them on.
So how do you save on hotels when you travel?
Great question.
Any secrets on that?
Yes, sir. And thank you for that question. That is a wonderful question. So 2 ways. The first way is there is a secret shopping company called Mercantile Systems. I will say that again. It is
I can't even spell that.
Mercantile. I think it's MERCANTILE. Mercantile Systems. Secret shopping. And anyone, if you're not watching it live, just go back and rewind. Mercantile Systems. Anyway, Mercantile Systems is a secret shopping company that has a contract with the Marriott Hotel Group. So every time that I try to travel, I try to stay in a Marriott and I try to line up a secret shop at that Marriott. So for example, the most recent one that I did, my entire hotel stay was covered. It also included 3 meals per day, one of them being room service, and it included valet parking and tips. So my hotel stay was pretty much completely covered. Plus I profited. The profit was only like $35, but I mean, the hotel was free and the food was free. So I didn't care that the profit was pretty low. All over the world. I mean, I saw one in Hawaii where there's a secret shop to a Marriott hotel in Hawaii where you can go stay, in this hotel right on the beach and get paid to do it. So that's the first way, Mercantile Systems. The second way is I'm an avid credit card churner. I will speak very clearly about this because I don't want to get misconstrued. Yep. Never, ever pay interest on a credit card and never charge something to that card if you don't have the cash to cover it. I would never go out of my way to spend money that I wouldn't otherwise spend just to get credit card points. But if I'm going to spend the money anyway, I do take advantage of credit card points. There's a lot of travel points. Oftentimes a new card bonus will be like, spend $1,000 in the first 90 days and you'll get 200. Again, nobody listening right now, do not go out of your way to spend $1,000 you wouldn't normally spend just to get $200. Again, that would be an $800 loss. But if you have that $1,000 earmarked anyway, you might as well take advantage of a credit card that's going to give you bonus points because it's just free money at that point.
Absolutely. Miss Aisha Donaldson, I hope that answers your question. Thank you all for tuning into the Gentleman Style Podcast. Today, we have the incredible Todd Baldwin, the man, the myth, the legend. We are going to go to a quick commercial break. So you all please stay tuned and tune in, and we'll be right back.
Are you a local business looking to offer your customers easy access to cash without having to travel miles? We're here to help. At Norman Legacy Investments, we provide free ATMs with free installation that provide a suitable investment for your business. Even better, we offer you some profit sharing and handle everything from start to finish. Just reach out to us today to schedule a free consultation.
Hey, you guys, we're back. Thank you for that quick intermission. So, Mr. Baldwin, you said you have. How'd you learn all of this? Is you learn this on the job? You learn this through? How did you learn all these secrets to saving money and investing your money wisely?
That's a really great question. So it started. So I mentioned before that I came from a pretty poor family. I got my first job when I was 12. I was working at a ranch shoveling horse manure for about $3 an hour. So that was fun. And when I was, I think when I was 15, I started a lawn care business in my hometown. I come from a very small hick town, by the way. Grew up I was one of, I think, 3 black people in the entire town. So there was a lot of farmland, and I just saw a niche there to go work outside and, mow lawns, weed eat, chop wood, all that stuff. So at the time, I live in Washington State. We actually have a pretty high minimum wage, but at the time that I was 15, minimum wage was, I believe, $8.67 an hour. But through starting my own business, I could make 15 or 20 bucks an hour as a teenager, and I thought that was awesome. Then when I was 17, I started a candy sales business at my high school. We had vending machines, but there were no candy or soda, so I just saw a market there of people who wanted sweets, and the school wasn't providing. So I would buy candy in bulk at Costco and then go sell individual bars for $1 out of the trunk of my car. And around that time, I started learning how to make money online. But everything changed when I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's when I figured out assets versus liabilities. I learned about real estate. I learned that you can actually make money while you're sleeping. And that changed the game for me. So I didn't have a mentor in the traditional sense. Nobody took me by the hand one day and said, hey, you need to invest in real estate, and here's why. It was a lot of self-education where I would go out and I would seek knowledge from, influencers and other successful people. And then I would try to just put my own spin on it and emulate what I thought would work. And so throughout college, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I did end up dropping out of college to go pursue another opportunity.
You need it.
Yeah, exactly. It did pay off. I was making great money as a 22-year-old. I think, when I was 22, I was making $110,000 a year in a sales job. And I just took every penny of that and I invested in real estate. And here we are today.
Absolutely. Here we are today. That's unique, right? I'm not going to share how I feel about college right now, but I do recognize in my later years, and mind you, I'm in college right now, but I do recognize that college is no longer the path. I'll say this, it's not the only path to success and happiness. A lot of our families, a lot of our parents and our grandparents were raised under that mindset. I have now come to the realization that is no longer the case. So I'm glad you said that. That's huge.
Yeah, I think here's what I will say. As someone who I did the worst thing you could possibly do. I took out student loans and then I didn't get a degree. That's the worst thing you can do. Yeah. You have to expensive to college and nothing to show for it. Now, my student loans have been paid off for years now. We're all good. But here's what I will say is it completely depends on what you want to do. For me, what I wanted to do, being an entrepreneur and a professional investor, I didn't need a degree for that. But if you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer or, something like that, you do need a degree. So it does depend. But I think there has been a lot of propaganda about schools, but particularly a shame on trades, which I have no clue how that became popular. I know plumbers and electricians who make $160,000 a year. And then I know people with PhDs who make $37 or 37 grand, and they don't do anything with their degree because that philosophy degree didn't really translate to economic value. Meanwhile, they talk smack about the guy who never went to school, but he's making 4 times the income. So it really just depends on what you do.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. We have another question from Miss Shanique Henry. What is your favorite types of credit cards? Is it Chase? Is it Capital One? Because you're a credit card consumer.
I am. I have so many credit cards. I recently had a YouTube video where I reveal all of my credit cards, and I have like 20 of them. Most of them are kept in a safe. I have one in my wallet, but I do have a Capital One Quicksilver card. I believe that gives me 1.5% cash back on every purchase. So I just have that for like my bills and business expenses. And then a really good travel card that I have is the Alaska credit card. If you guys fly on Alaska Airlines, they have there's an annual fee of $75, which I am 100% against fees when it comes to cards. It's the only credit card that I have with a fee. But for that, in exchange for that annual fee of $75, I get a buddy pass, meaning I can fly anyone that I want to anywhere in the continental US for I think $120. So like I could fly someone from Seattle to New York for $120, which that flight, would normally be, I don't know, like $600. So it's well worth it to me to pay that annual fee of $75 because the value that I get is so much greater.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
That is absolutely worth it. So Alaska, Capital One, and what was that?
Say probably the Chase Freedom Unlimited card is probably my third one. Third favorite.
Chase Limited and Free. So I hope that helps you, Shanique. That helped me. I got my little steno pad here, and plus this is my videos. I'm gonna just rewatch it and just steal all these ideas anyway. So thank you. Great question, Shanique. We got another one from Patience in and it's in regards to your earlier statement about the secret shopper. Can you secret shop on cruises or flights?
That is a great question. So I actually have done a secret shop on a cruise before.
What?
It was awesome. Yes, I did it. There was a couple. There was like a legit, from Florida, style cruise, and then another one that I did for free was a dinner cruise out of Chicago, where it was like a cruise ship that just went around for dinner. I got paid, I believe, $300 for that. I know there have been secret shops for flights in the past. I personally have never done one. And there's secret shops for airport stuff too. Like, if you go to it's like Starbucks in the airport, you can get money that way too. So I will say yes, although I can't speak to the flights because I personally have never done one.
Absolutely. There you go. So you can secret shop for flights, and he's done them and cruises. I'm more for the cruise because I can swim better than I can fly. So that's how I get my money back on that one. So great question, Miss Patience Dean. You are incredible today, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. We got Mr. Todd Baldwin, yo! Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. I've been excited all week. You can tell.
I'm excited too, and I'm incredibly humbled and flattered. And you have such an active, engaged audience. This is awesome. Like this is my first, for anyone watching, this is my first live stream. So I'm new to all of this. I'm new to answering questions on the fly, but I gotta say, I love it. This is really fun.
This is dope. My audience is incredible. They're dynamic. They're amazing. And they've been with me from the very beginning. So I love them to death. And that's why I always want to serve and give back to them in this way. Mr. Baldwin, we're in 2020, recession hit, COVID hit. How has that affected your real estate? How has that affected your investing, your finances, your tenants? Are they leaving? You have to evict anybody? How are you holding up?
So great question. And the answer is going to be controversial because I know there are a lot of people who are struggling right now, but I hope that this answer can provide some clarity about why it's important to be an investor. I have done phenomenally well in this pandemic. Just like there were people who made millions in 2008, there are two types of people in a crash. There are people who will lose out and miss opportunity and be really in a world of hurt. And then there will be people positioned to buy stocks, companies, or real estate, whatever, at the bottom. And I am so blessed and so privileged to be on that side of it. So I believe if I do the math right, I think during quarantine, I think I made something like $400,000 during quarantine because the value of my properties and assets went up. Because the real estate market is still red hot, by the way. And then when the stock market took a plunge 5 or 6 months ago, whenever it was, I took tens of thousands of dollars, I think like 30 or 40 grand, and I just bought in, and that has, it's gone way up from there. None of my tenants have struggled to pay rent or have left. The tenants that I got, or the tenants who I have who have been laid off, I helped them apply for unemployment, and I sat right with them, helped them fill out the application. They were actually making more money on unemployment than they were from their jobs. I know that's controversial as well, but when you factor in the $600 per week, plus in Seattle, I think it was like $1,000 a week in unemployment. I had a tenant who, of course, will remain nameless, but she would normally make about $32,000 per year in gross income. And with the unemployment and the CARES Act, she was netting about $1,000 a week. So for her, losing her job gave her a 50% raise. And I won't say it's good or bad or right or wrong. It is what it is. And then also, I had one other tenant who they worked in a restaurant, lost that job, but I helped them pivot and start doing Uber Eats and Postmates. And now this person, in just, I think, 3 or 4 months, made an extra $30,000 doing Uber Eats and Postmates. And it's because restaurants were shut down. People still want to eat out, and they're just ordering. And so she's taking advantage of all the people using that app.
That is genius, y'all. So here it is right there. In a recession, in a pandemic, he is still growing, and he's on the other side of the coin that we as my audience need to get to. Mr. Baldwin is here telling us from Mount Olympus that, there's a better way. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to sit here. And so his real estate has grown, and he has a heart, right? He's not the evil, malicious Scrooge McDuck sitting there swimming in his piles of money. He actually helps his tenants file for unemployment. He actually helped his residents file and get back on their feet and get to a better place. Miss Chanel Mitchell wants to share another question. She has her son is 12, and I'm about to start his business. What resources do you recommend for him? Books, channels, etc. Obviously, I'm going to say my channel.
Yeah.
And Mr. Baldwin gonna give you his tips.
This channel for sure. Have your son tune in. You've got some great guests and a really powerful audience here. I would say I really do love Rich Dad Poor Dad. I like the book Think and Grow Rich. Millionaire Next Door is another really good one. Just any books that can fill his brain with knowledge, because especially as a 12-year-old, like their mind at that age is going to soak up whatever's in front of them. So if you put nonsense in front of them, that's what they're going to soak up. So put education in front of that kid. And I'm speaking as someone who's never raised a kid. So if I'm talking out of the side of my mouth, feel free to smack me. But that's just, I'm remembering when I was 12, and if I had something in front of me, I would consume it. And so, yeah, just get him in the right stuff. If he wants to tune into my YouTube channel, I only cuss sometimes. So hopefully that 12-year-old brain will be unscathed by that. But certainly books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Think and Grow Rich, Richest Man in Babylon, all of those books will do him very, very well.
Absolutely. So Chanel Mitchell, you got to surround him with education. That is the best thing you could do. Surround him. Don't leave those magazines that aren't going to build on, that he can build from.
And I think too, if I may, I'm obviously a huge fan of hip hop. My go-to music, it's insane, awesome music. And the guy that I probably think is doing one of the best jobs is Jay-Z, because he raps about real stuff. Like I listen to the song Story of OJ probably once every couple of weeks, just because he straight up tells you, he's talking to men when he says, what's better than throwing your money at a strip club is credit. And he just says stuff like that. And he talks about compound interest, about how he bought, a painting for $1 million, and 2 years later it was worth $2 million. And then it was worth $8 million, and all these things. And so I think Jay-Z is talking about real stuff. And I think in a culture that can sometimes idolize stuff that isn't productive, I think that picking artists who speak the truth about that stuff is really important.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they hear hip hop, they hear rap, and they just get like, oh, that's not useful. It is useful depending on the artist you're listening to. So
absolutely.
It's a great point. Very great point. Jay-Z, what's his famous quote right now that's just circulating? If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
That sticks with me. And it makes me look differently at the different things that I want, right? Can I buy this twice? Can I really afford this? And if I can't buy it twice, then maybe I don't need it right now. Maybe I could do without it a little bit longer. We have another question from his patience, Dean. She's on fire. Are there any investments you've tried that didn't work?
That's a really good question. I've been very, very blessed to have an amazing track record with investing. I will say I got into crypto when it was a little bit earlier. I actually did well there. I think I tripled my money initially, and then I sold. And then when it dipped, I bought back in, and then I doubled it. And then I sold again, and I have not touched it since. Cryptocurrency is just too volatile for my appetite. But as far as like,
I sold everything.
I'm sorry.
So you sold everything?
Yeah, I sold all my crypto.
Okay.
I tripled it, sold, then I doubled it and sold, and I haven't touched it since. But I've never I was with a couple of real estate investors not too long ago, and they were like going around the circle and like, well, how much money have you ever lost on a deal? What's the most amount of money you lost on a deal? And it ranged from like $5,000 to $1 million. And it got to me, and I've never lost money on a deal. And maybe it's because I'm incredibly cautious and I'm very picky about what I choose to invest in, but it served me well. I've never once lost money on an investment. So now the market goes up and down. You know, like the value of homes will go up and down. The value of your stocks will go up and down. But I've never once had to panic sell for a loss. I hope that answers your question right. But I've never invested into something, lost a bunch of money, and then real quickly scrambled and get my money out. That's never once happened.
Absolutely. Great question. We have a follow-up investment question from Miss Aisha Donaldson. Should we be investing in gold right now? Do you own any gold?
I do.
Aisha, are you talking about like physical, tangible gold, or are we talking about gold stocks? But go ahead, Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah, there's a difference. So I actually don't own gold stocks. Like bars of gold or gold coins, I like that idea. But what I will say is this: personally, for me, I like true assets that produce income. So like with real estate, I know it's going to, like, I know if I buy a piece of real estate tomorrow, it's going to be worth more in 30 years than what I pay for it tomorrow. But also it's going to pay me every single month for those 30 years, right? So a gold bar or a gold coin, all it is, it's either going to go up in value or lose value, but it's not going to be putting money in your pocket while you hold it, if that makes sense. So if somebody asked me, would I rather have all the gold in the world or all the farmland in the world, I would choose the farmland every time, because the farmland has, livestock and buildings, and it produces stuff, and it generates products that can be sold, where gold is just, it's valuable because somebody else will pay for it, but it doesn't produce you an income.
Absolutely. That's Shaisha. I hope that answers your question. That was a great response, Mr. Baldwin. God dang.
Oh, thank you.
That's why I love real estate. Real estate. One of the things I did, and I don't subscribe this to I don't recommend this to anybody. But one of the things I did is I emptied my 401k. And I took all that money and I bought investment property. And I don't ever recommend anyone else do that. And when I was thinking about doing it and I was sharing it with people, they were like, "Oh, Marcus, you crazy. You're going to empty your 401k. You're going to empty your retirement." And I said, yes, because I don't want to wait till I'm 59 and a half. I want to make money now. And I understand that some people, just like my audience is mature, and you're mature and we're mature. Everyone here is mature, but there are some people that aren't that dedicated and mature enough to handle that much money and say, I am strictly going to use this to accomplish this product or service or investment. And so when I took that and I did that, I wanted something that was going to pay me today, not 59, not 60, not 70, 65 and a half. I wanted to invest that money into something that was going to pay me right now. And I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I can look at that 0 401k balance and I can sleep comfortably because I've traded it off for something that pays me today, not later. And I don't have any regrets. And so what you're saying, what you're doing, when I say you're an inspiration for me, you are an inspiration because you give me hope. And so thank you for that. Thank you for saying that out loud, because more people need to hear it. What are new investments you have considered? She is all about the money.
Yeah, great questions. This is awesome. So obviously, real estate, I will say, is my ride or die. I do still, like, I contribute to an IRA, I contribute to a 401k, but it's because I have real estate that can fund that. So, like, my real estate will pay me. I have a rental property that brings in like $90,000 a year. I can take 20 of that and put it in a 401k. I can take 6 of that and put it in an IRA. But as far as what other investments I'm considering, when it comes to stocks, I'm just a big believer in the S&P 500. I think when you invest in the S&P, you're investing in America. And if you're betting on America to win, you're probably right. So I will say that. As far as individual stocks, I do have some individual stocks, like Amazon, Apple, Tesla. But what I will say is those are really for more experienced traders, because your risk is centered into one asset at that point. So when you buy the S&P 500, your money is spread across so many different businesses, so the risk is spread out. So for beginners, I would say, and even for me, again, I put money in the S&P all the time. That's what I do. If you want to look into individual stocks on Robinhood and stuff like that, it's fine, but just know there's a little bit more risk to that.
Absolutely more risk. And for a sophisticated investor like Mr. Baldwin, I would pick, the only thing I would touch on that is educate yourself. When you educate yourself, because if you go out there and you buy individual stocks, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get completely messed up. So yeah, absolutely. Mr. Chris, the man. Oh my God. I love this. What's up, bro? What is a good investment if I have $2,500 cash? I would say tune back in. There was some great tips in the beginning, but Mr. Baldwin, what you got? How can we help Chris?
I mean, I would say self-improvement is always an investment well spent, because nobody can take away your knowledge. So if you have $2,500 and you're like, what's the best use of this money? Educating yourself in whatever field you want to go into, whatever skills you want to develop. Like if you want to become an electrician and there's an electrician course for $1,000, like that would be a really good use of that money, because nobody can take away your talents and knowledge. If you're looking for an answer that's like, where can I put this? What account can I put this in to make it grow the fastest? I would still say S&P 500 would be your best bet. And I firmly believe that. That's what I invest in. I wouldn't tell you guys to invest in something that I don't believe in. But that thing has, produced anywhere between 8 and 11% return for the last, 75 years now. So if you put $2,500 in there and you just let it ride, you could probably double your money in about 7 years. But investing in yourself, I think, is always money well spent.
Absolutely. Investing in yourself pays the best dividends. Absolutely. Mr. Baldwin, what books would you recommend my audience read that, especially now, what books are you reading?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I am a huge fan of How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Love that book.
That's probably because I'm a salesman by trade. So understanding how people think and what motivates them is always really good for me. To anyone who hasn't read Robert Kiyosaki's books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, stuff like that, you got to do it. You got to read that stuff. If any of you guys subscribe to the Bigger Pockets podcast with Brandon Turner, I was on the Bigger Pockets podcast a couple months ago, and he has some books specifically about house hacking. And I know people are going to get mad at me for this because not everybody wants to do it. But if you find yourself, if you're like young and don't have kids and you can stomach living with roommates, I recommend doing that. If you have kids or you're just past the point of living with roommates, you just can't even stomach the thought of it. If you can buy a duplex, live in one half and rent out the other half to pay. That's what we do now. We don't have roommates anymore, but I'm filming in one of the rooms of my duplex. And it's a really nice duplex in Seattle, and we live for free. Our mortgage is paid for each and every month because the other half pays rent that covers the mortgage. So books that'll teach you how to do that, I think, are incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. How do you give back to your community? Great
question. I love that question. So the biggest thing that I have done is I started a YouTube channel teaching everything that I know. A lot of people, when they figure this out, they want to keep it for themselves because then there'll still be people at the top and people at the bottom, because if only rich people have the information, then there you go. That's the first way. The second thing is I actually recently reached out to an individual. He reached out to me, and he is a teacher. And I will be now teaching financial literacy to high school students in inner cities. So I am super happy to be doing that. It's going to be completely for free. I'm just doing it because I think it's the right thing to do. And basically talking to kids when they're young and in high school about why this stuff is important and about how to make your money work for you, in communities who have been really struggling with this and have been really struggling with wealth inequality. So that's the biggest thing. The third thing is my sister actually is the VP for a nonprofit organization called One Goal. And their whole purpose is to basically take kids, get them educated, and then help them go to college if that's what their goal is. And so I donate to that. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'm doing right now is teaching financial literacy to people who need it while they're young in communities who've traditionally struggled.
Powerful. How can my audience get a hold of you if they want to connect, if they want to tune in and just absorb that knowledge? How can they get a hold of you?
Awesome. Yeah. If you guys want to DM me on Instagram at Todd J. Baldwin, that is certainly the best way to get in contact with me. I do the best that I can to respond to DMs in a timely fashion. I will say that I do get a crazy lot of messages these days, but I still, even if it takes me a couple of days to get back to you, I will get back to you. It just might be, 48 or 72 hours, but DM me on my Instagram at Todd J. Baldwin, and I will get back to you. Powerful.
And again, don't forget that YouTube channel. We have to uplift this man. We have to uplift this man and his family, because he, I won't say he's the goal. I just got a text message. Can you explain what house hacking is?
Oh, yes. Great question. So there's two definitions that I'll go over. So the way that I did it is I bought a primary residence, meaning a house that I'm going to live in. My wife and I occupied the master bedroom of that house, and then we rented out the other rooms of that house, and we priced those rooms so that our mortgage payment was completely paid for, plus we made between $500 and $1,000 in profit. If you do not want to have roommates, the other way to house hack is to buy a small multifamily, either a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex. That is because you can buy up to 4 units and still consider it owner occupied, meaning your interest rate will be lower and you don't have to come up with a full 20% down. So if you do it that way, that you buy a small multifamily, you live in one unit, and you rent out the other unit or units so that it offsets the cost of your mortgage. So in my situation right now, we live in a duplex. We live in one side. We rent out the other half. It completely covers the mortgage every month. If we had a triplex or a fourplex, we would also be making a profit on top of covering the mortgage. But that is what house hacking is. It's a way to you guys essentially live for free.
And remember, y'all, he house hacks and he makes some revenue there, but him and his wife still work.
Yeah.
So I would say you're making a profit regardless, because that's money. That's what a $1,500, $2,000 that you are not out of pocket for. So any way you spend it, you're making money, because that's money they do not have to spend.
Right. So for everyone listening, imagine if your rent payment or your mortgage payment was gone. That's essentially what house hacking does, is it gets rid of that monthly payment. And for most people out there, their housing is their biggest expense. It's more than anything else you're going to spend money on. So if you can eliminate that, then think of how much more money you'll have left over to invest.
Absolutely. Mr. Todd, who are your heroes and why? Who is your hero and why?
Oh my goodness. That is a great question. Oh boy.
He was not prepared for this.
Sorry?
He wasn't prepared for this, y'all. He did not get to explain any of this. This is on the fly.
On the fly questions. I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my mom. She was born into some pretty horrific circumstances. She was born in 1955 in Little Rock, Arkansas. And back then, mental health wasn't even really like a known thing. Her mother had schizophrenia. My mom ended up running away from home when she was a teenager. Wow. And And then she met my sister's father, who bailed on her as soon as he found out she was pregnant. So she had him. And then she met my father, who turned out to be abusive and just a bad guy, spent all the money on drugs and then left. And so my mom did an incredible job raising me, my younger brother, and my older sister. She did it all by herself. So giving a shout out to her, I would say, is huge. As far as the more, I guess, traditional answers, this is going to be kind of random, but I'm a big fan of The Rock. I just love The Rock, man. Like, The Rock's a cool dude. So I really like The Rock. I would say people that are out there, that are hustling, that are grinding, and that are paying it forward. I don't know if you watch the Dave Ramsey show, but a personality they have on there is a man named Chris Hogan. And although I don't I don't agree with everything on the Dave Ramsey show, because I use credit cards and stuff like that. But I think Chris Hogan, I think Dave Ramsey, I think they're doing really important work, and they're helping people with their finances. So yeah, I mean, I would say those people for sure.
Powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. When I first started my journey, I was on the Dave Ramsey plan, and I started with the investment, the $1,000 savings fund. So I was on the Dave Ramsey plan. Mm-hmm. And like you, I got off of it because it didn't work in the real estate realm. Because Dave Ramsey takes a very extreme approach in buying out property straight cash. And that, not to say that's not impossible. I just wasn't patient enough to wait that long.
Right. Well, I think so. Here's the biggest difference that I've found between Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki. And again, let me just put this out there. I'm a fan of both of these people. So this isn't to knock either one of them. And if you're a fan of them, I don't want you to think that I'm, like saying one is good or one is bad. I think Dave Ramsey's content is phenomenal to help poor people not be poor. And I think Robert Kiyosaki's phenomenal for helping middle-class people become rich. And that to me is like, and the thing is, Dave Ramsey's right. Someone who is a poor person, and has the mentality of I'm going to go spend whatever, that person probably shouldn't own a credit card. They shouldn't. They're going to misuse it. And they probably should pay down their mortgage as soon as possible, because they're not going to invest the difference into something productive. But if you can get past that level and you're good with your money, you're smart, then yeah, a case could be made that leveraging here and there could be good. I put it this way. I only take on debt if I know that debt will make me more money. I never take on debt for something that will not pay me. So I wouldn't pay interest on a car. I won't do that. But I will put $1 million down on a $5 million apartment building. And so I'll have a $4 million loan, but guess what? My tenants will pay off that $4 million for me. So that's what I'm talking about.
It's powerful. Powerful. Incredible, y'all. You guys, thank you all for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast coming to you live in America. We have to let Mr. Baldwin go. We have to give him the keys back and let him uncuff himself. Y'all, we can't keep him. I know my audience will say here, you are a wealth of knowledge. Mr. Baldwin, thank you, brother. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being an inspiration. Thank you for giving back. Thank your mom for raising such an incredible, dynamic, powerful, great man and leaving her legacy and showing her legacy through you. You are a true inspiration, my friend. And your mom is a testament and a hero of mine now. And so thank you all. Thank you all, my audience, for tuning in to today. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. This has been a phenomenal episode. Mr. Baldwin, sir, hopefully I can get you back on in the future. As you grow, we can grow with you. So thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, it was an absolute pleasure coming on to your audience. Thank you for listening, and thank you for asking such powerful questions. I really appreciate it. And yes, I would love to come back on, hopefully in 2021, where things are a little bit better. And I would love to see where your show has grown, where you've grown, and I could probably update you guys on some deals that I'm working on too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Super dope. Super dope. Super dope. Like I always say, y'all, take care of your friends, take care of your families, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, Gentleman Style Podcast, and Mr. Todd Baldwin signing off. Love you guys.